Hey everyone, how's it going? Cloud here, and welcome to my guide on the Rocking Out quest. Now for this quest you need the following requirements. You must have completed the prequel quest, which is the Great Brain Robbery, and you also need these skill requirements: level 60 agility, level 63 thieving, level 66 crafting, and level 69 smithing. And you're also going to need to be able to defeat 2 customs officers level 37 without any equipment or food, but it's not really difficult, and I'll show you a little easy way of getting around that during the guide later on. So that's it for requirements. Now onto the items. So you're going to need 3 pieces of pirate clothing, and you can obtain these from Muscle Harmless from the shop. As long as you've got your book of piracy with you, they'll enable you to buy from them, and basically you need 3 pieces of the clothing, which can consist either of the bandana, pirate shirt, leggings or boots. You're going to need your book of piracy. If you've lost it, you can obtain it back during the quest. Fishbowl helmet, diving apparatus, the Ghostspeak amulet or cramulet, 2 lots of bronze wire, which you can either buy from the Grand Exchange, or if you use a bronze bar on an anvil, you can turn it into bronze wire. Charcoal, which can be obtained during the quest. And for recommended items, I'd advise you to have the ectophial, the ring of charos activated, and a hammer, as your tool belt one will not work. So that's it for requirements and items. Now onto the quest starting points. So we're currently at the ectofuntus, which you can reach by using your ectovial, and the quest starting point is to go and speak to Bill Teach, and he can be found either in the Green Ghost Inn, the Other Inn, or on the Adventurous. So I would advise speaking to him on the Adventurous. That's the quickest way to kind of find him. So we're going to head that way now. So when you find Bill Teach, speak to him and ask him about Rabid Jack, and he does not want to tell you due to an oath, but will send you to young Ralph, who is imprisoned on Rock Island Prison, and if needed you can ask him now for your book of piracy if you've lost one. So to get to the prison we must first get arrested, so for this we need to go and see the customs sergeant in his little office in southeastern Remington, and you're going to need 3 pieces of pirate clothing in order to fool him into being a pirate. So if you haven't got the pirate clothing, you can use Bill Teach to go to Muscle Harmless and go to the shop on there to get the 3 pieces of pirate clothing. If you've already got it with you, we now need to head to Remington, and the quickest way to get there is to go to the Port Sarim Lodestone via the Lodestone network and then head west from there. So when you arrive in Remington, you'll find his office in the southeastern part. Speak to the customs sergeant and tell him you're a pirate, and to trick him you must be wearing at least 3 pieces of pirate clothing. So you'll now have a couple of conversation pieces to convince the customs officer to arrest you. Now it doesn't matter if you choose the wrong option, as you can speak to him again and he'll ask you the same questions. Now what you can do is read the notice board next to the entrance door for information on the answers to the trick questions. And the answers to the trick questions are different for every player. So it's a bit of like a trial and error kind of thing. You can't go wrong. You'll know once you've chosen the right options. So when answered correctly, you'll be forced to deposit all your items into the locker, which acts like a bank deposit box. You will then be transported to jail immediately and into a humorous cutscene in a small cell with an enormous hole in the wall by heavy-handed Harry, who forbids you to escape. So when you first arrive at a prison cell, all you'll be wearing is a prison uniform, and you do not have any items, and you'll have to find a way to talk to young Ralph. Shout through the barred window at young Ralph in the next cell, and heavy-handed Harry will inform you that Ralph is deaf and cannot hear you. Next, pick up a tin cup in the cell and use it on the jail door 3 times until heavy-handed Harry throws stew on your shirt, which will now leave you with a fishy prison uniform top. Next, right click the pipe next to the jail window in your cell and select tap, and you'll have an amusing Morse code conversation with the prisoner in the cell below, and eventually the pipes will break and you'll receive a pipe. Shout through the door to heavy-handed Harry and say you wish to write a confession, and you'll receive a quill, an ink bottle and a piece of paper to write on. You can use these to write a note to young Ralph by dipping the quill in the ink to get an inky quill, then writing on the paper. However, do not attempt to give it to him by throwing it at his cell, as it will drop away and he doesn't see it. So what we need to do next is search for an accordion in the rubble just outside of the jail cell. Use the ink bottle on the note to make a piece of sticky inky paper. Now use the empty ink bottle on the sharp rock and you'll then get a smashed bottle. Use this on the accordion, which will cut a small hole in it. Next, use the pipe on the accordion and the pipe will be pushed through. And finally, use the inky paper on the accordion to transport it into a vacuum pump. Use the fishy prison uniform top on the perch rock outside your cell and it will draw a seagull in to sit on it, and then you need to use your vacuum pump on the unsuspecting seagull, which will be trapped in it. And now use your vacuum pump and goal on young Ralph's barred window and he will then notice the seagull and turn round. So talk to young Ralph by shouting through the barred window and he will read your lips and conversation can then proceed. At some point Harry will interrupt the conversation and you'll need to whisper. You will ask about Rabbit Jack, but he'll only reveal information on him if you get the 5 marks from the 5 captains. So to escape from the prison, walk round to the pier on the east side of the island and dive into the water, and this will take you to Karamja next to Captain Clem Foodle, the glider pilot. You'll leave behind everything you carried earlier. So to obtain the marks of the 5 captains, we must visit each of them, and you can do it in any order that you like, and we must convince them to give us the mark. Now the order that I give you will kind of minimise the travelling around and the time taken to complete it all, but you don't have to follow it in this order, but I'll talk you through how to get the marks. At this part, I'd recommend you get all the items back that I mentioned at the beginning of the quest, just to make it easier in terms of going to each of the captains. So the first captain we're going to find is Captain Braindeath, who can be found on the ground floor of the rum factory on Braindeath Island. So to get there, what we want to do is use the ectophial to go back to the ectofuntus. Once there, talk to Pirate P, and then he'll knock you out and you'll be taken to Braindeath Island. So go speak to the captain, who you'll find just nearby, and he wants you to convince the bartender of the Rusty Anchor Inn in Port Sarim to stock his rum, and he will give you 5 sets of disguises to wear. So what we need to do now is go to the Rusty Anchor Inn, which is in Port Sarim, so the quickest way to get there is via the Port Sarim lodestone. So to start, ask the bartender about the rum and he'll say he does not need to stock it as demand is too low to order any of it. He then explains that 5 people that asked for rum he would start selling it. So what you have to do is put on the disguises you were given and pretend to be different people in order to make him think there's more demand for the rum. However, if you do it now he'll recognise you. So talk to him and start getting him drunk and select the I'll have a drink and you have one too option. Now after a few drinks, about 5 should do, he'll be too drunk to recognise you in the disguises. So do not talk to him again until you have a different disguise on, or you'll have to pay for another beer to get him drunk again. So what you need to do is exit the pub, put on one of the 5 disguises, then talk to him again and ask about the rum. Then exit the pub, change the disguise again, and then go and repeat this process. And you'll want to do this with all 5 of the disguises. On the 5th, he'll then say he wants to talk to you, meaning the original undisguised version of you, who was trying to sell the rum. So go outside, take off your final disguise, and then talk to him yet again, and he will then give you an order for some rum. So, to save time on a return trip, talk with Redbeard Frank on the docks south of the bar now to start his task, just so we can then do that at the right opportunity. So, Redbeard Frank's task is he will not believe that Jack has returned and will ask for a proof, and which will be a letter from the terrorised monks to prove that Rabbit Jack really is back. So what we want to do now is go to Mosler Harmless and find Brother Tranquility around the dock area. The quickest way to get there is to use the nearby charter ship to charter to Mosler Harmless. When you arrive, talk to him and he will give you a letter. Now, whilst we're here, we're going to go aboard Bill Teacher's ship and speak to him to start the task from him as well. Now, when you ask for his mark, he will give you an introduction letter and tell you to find 50 ships Mufasa, who is up the ladder of the other inn on Mosler Harmless, which is the most northwestern building. Bill wants Mufasa's idol of many heads. So we will find 50 ships Mufasa located upstairs in the house north of the inn. Speak to him and he will tell you how to locate the idol after you've joined his crew. Brass Hand Harry is also in the same room as 50 ships Mufasa, so we can also now start his task to avoid returning here later on. So talk to Captain Brass Hand Harry and show the introduction letter from Bill Teach to Brass Hand Harry. He will say that a brass hand of his is needed for his mark to be made, but he won't use his current one as it will become dirty and the smith is low on them. He will give you 5 broken hands and say that to make the brass hand requires 5 hand pieces and 2 bronze wires. So take apart the hands by clicking on them, and then with the wire in your inventory, use one part of the hand on another and an interactive screen with an easy puzzle will appear. And basically what you need to do is use the arrows to move each of the hand pieces around to match where they fit. Now some of these will need to be rotated around in order to be correct. And now what I will do on the screen, I'll just sort of like fast forward me assembling the hand, and then I'll do a freeze frame of the hand so you know what the correct puzzle solution is. So once it is completed, the interface will automatically close and a brass hand will appear in your inventory. Talk to Captain Brass Hand Harry and show him the hands. He will then give you an ink pad and some paper, and in using the brass hand on the ink pad makes it into an inky hand. You can then use the inky hand on the paper to make Brass Hand Harry's mark. Talk to him again and he will then confirm that his mark is satisfactory. So now we've done that, we're going to return to Port Sarim and hand over the letter that we obtained from Brother Tranquility to Captain Redbeard Frank, so I'll speak to you when we're there. So Frank will say he needs better proof as Tranquility never actually saw Jack and wants proof for one of his captains. So what we need to do now is make sure you've got 3 pieces of your pirate clothing with you, and then return to Brain Death Island the same way as we did before. So by going to the Ectofunters using the Ectovial and using Pirate Pete to take you to Brain Death Island. Now when you arrive at Brain Death Island, before we carry on with Redbeard Frank's task, we can actually go and speak to Captain Brain Death as we completed his task earlier with the rum. You'll go through the different dialogue options and then he will give you the mark. So once you've done that, you want to exit the brewery by going down the stairs on the south side to find Captain Donny nearby. Talk to him wearing the pirate clothing and you'll say you're a new zombie pirate just washed up from the sea and ask for plans. He will give you some plans but they're incomplete, and Captain Donny will tell you he accidentally carved the rest of the plans into 50% Luke. So we head to 50% Luke, who's just over here near the gate. Now if you don't have any charcoal, you can take some from the crates that are behind him. So once you have that, use the charcoal on 50% Luke and you'll obtain a charcoal rubbing, and this will also upset him and you'll have a humorous conversation between the two of you. Now we have the charcoal rubbing, we now need to return to Redbeard Frank on Port Sarim and speak to him to receive Frank's mark. So the next thing we're going to do is carry on with 50 Ships Mufasa's task. So he would have told you about the idol is on a shipwreck off the shore of Dragontooth Island. So you'll need your diving apparatus and fishbowl helmet. If you have lost these, you can re-obtain them from Murphy in Port Khazard. You'll also need your Ghostspeak amulet. Also make sure you're not carrying too much equipment, otherwise you'll be told you're too heavy to go diving and need to bank. 28 kilograms is too much, 27 kilograms or less is fine. So what we need to do is go to Port Fatimasus, so the quickest way to get there is use the ectophial to go to the ectophantus, and then go into the port and head where the ghost captain is, who's just on this dock, and he will take you to Dragontooth Island. So on the island you'll then find the diving chain, which is in the northeast part of the island. Put on your diving apparatus and fishbowl helmet and dive down. Once you're in the ocean, you want to swim around until you find a Carantulu and catch it. It's the only fish swimming around, and you'll see it on the minimap as a yellow dot, and you'll get a key. Then go aboard the ship on its north side. There are aggressive level 70 giant lobsters and also giant crabs. They aren't particularly tough, but they will probably go after you. So go west and climb up the stairs and open the chest with the key in your inventory to get a crowbar. You need this crowbar to dig later. So climb down the stairs and climb the ladder to the east. Go west and dig the mess under the crowbar, and you'll then lever the worst of the rotten planking out of the way. And then dig on the pile of sand until you scoop away a load of silt 3 times to eventually expose the idol, and you'll then need to take the shiny golden idol of many heads. So now we have the idol, we can escape. Now you can either climb up the chain to return to Dragontooth Island, or if you're standing in the wrecked ship, you can use your ectophial to teleport back to the ectophantus. And now we have the idol, we can return to Bill Teach on his ship and give that to him to get Bill Teach's mark. So that is now 4 of the captain's marks obtained. Now I know that was kind of trying to do sort of multiple things at once, but it will shorten the amount of time with you travelling back and forth talking to each of the different pirates, so hopefully you found those instructions quite straightforward. So the final captain we need to speak to is Captain Izzy Nobeard, who is in the Brimhaven Agility Arena. So quickest way to get there is to teleport to the Karamja Lodestone and then head to him from there. So after you start talking to him, Captain Izzy will ask you to return to Rock Island Prison and get a brooch from his friend that died there, Wanda the Fish. So what you need to do is go back to Rimington and get arrested once more, like we did at the beginning part of the quest. You'll still have to store all your items in the locker before you go. Now Izzy asks you to go back to the prison and search the mattress for some lockpicks to get into the other rooms. The storage room is where you need to go, so what we need to do is search the bed and you'll find a crude lockpick and use it on the jail door. Now you need to kill the customs officer, so since you can't take in any weapon it can be hard to do damage, but protect and deflect melee will help make the fight easier. So once you've killed him, take his clothes and equip everything, and then you need to go up 2 flights of stairs to arrive at the cabinet files room. Click on the door and tell the locker guard you're there to get some evidence, and then go into the storage room and search the cabinets until you find the file about Wanda the Fish and take it. You'll find that the files are in alphabetical order, so that will help you narrow it down. Talk to the locker officer and he will give you Wanda's personal item, a brooch. So we can either now use the home teleport or dive back into the water to get out of the prison. However, there is a little trick you can do here to make another step a bit easier later on. So if you drop your mithril scimitar inside your jail cell and act quick enough on this next part, you can pick the scimitar back up for the next section, which will make killing the custom officer again a lot easier. Now make sure you don't equip the scimitar whilst inside the cell, or the customs officer will take it away from you. So once you've dropped this scimitar in the jail cell, use the lodestone network to teleport back to Karamja, and then head back to Captain Izzy Nobeard with Wanda's brooch, and you'll receive Izzy's mark. So we now have the 5 marks of the captains, but we need to get them to the prison. So head back to Remington, talk to the customs sergeant with all 5 of your marks and tell him you want to make a confession, and he'll give you an empty file. Put the 5 marks of the captains in the file and talk to him again, and he will take the file with the 5 marks. So you'll now get sent back to the prison. Now, if you acted quick enough, like I said earlier, you should still see your mithril scimitar on the floor, so you can now pick that up, but don't equip it just yet. You then want to get out of the jail cell like we did earlier by using the crowbar or lockpick under the bed, and then when you're outside, you then need to refight the customs officer, but obviously if you've got the mithril scimitar, that'll make this stage a lot quicker. So once you've done that, re-obtain the uniform and put it on, and then head upstairs to the very top and ask for your file from the locker officer. Then head back down to your cell and talk to young Ralph, and he'll agree to tell you the Battle of Archipelago, where the United Pirates of Mos the Harmless defeated the fleet of Rabid Jack, and how he was a crew member of Harry's ship. So after you finish watching the cutscene, it'll come up, congratulations, you completed the Rocking Out quest. You're awarded 2 quest points, 25,000 experience in thieving, smithing, agility and crafting, free access to the Brimhaven Agility Arena, access to the Rock Island Prison, access to the bank deposit box in Remington, the ability to buy brain death rum from the Rusty Anchor Inn, the ability to understand the pirates on Mos the Harmless without a book of piracy, the ability to catch pirate implings with 76 Hunter, the ability to raise an XX parrot by speaking to Bill Teach and 50 ships Mufasa, 2 treasure hunter keys and 2 hearts of ice. So there we are, quest complete. So overall, not really a difficult quest, just a long quest, a lot of travelling around and different activities to do. However, the rewards at the end for the experience are quite decent. And the main reason you'll be doing this quest is for 2 things. One is this is a requirement to complete the next quest, Pirate Quest Series quest, which is the Clockwork Syringe. And the other thing will be, this is a requirement for the Ritual of the Mahjarrat. So ultimately, if you want to do those 2 quests, you're going to have to do this one, and that is the reason why I am doing this quest, as I am next going to be doing the Ritual of the Mahjarrat quest, which I've been waiting to do for some time. But yeah, overall, you shouldn't run into any problems following my guide. However, if you do get stuck, leave a comment in the comment section below, and I'll help you out as best as I can. If not, thank you for watching. Please make sure you like, favourite, comment, subscribe, and don't forget to share with your friends. Cheers everyone, bye bye.